This lesson we're going to be covering external CSS. Up until now we've been looking at something called internal CSS, but today we're going to be looking at external CSS and comparing the two types. So you should know the difference between the two by the end of this lesson. You should also know the advantages of using external CSS as well. And then we're going to do a few tasks, of course. So internal CSS, this is what we've been using right now, or up until now, and that is just when you've got the style tags in the head of the website and you add the rules there. So you just write body and then you write background color, whatever, font family, whatever, and then you can write H1 and that'll change the H1s. And we've also used classes and IDs as well. So here's an example. Just a simple example. So we've got the head here, you've got your title, so that's what up here in the bar, your style tags which say we are now writing in CSS, and then you can just write it and it obviously changes. So if you write background color tan, as you can see this page with the dog has a tan background and the font is Helvetica. The font of H1 and H2 is maroon. Now I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I'll bring it up now just in case. The comma here, right? If you want to make multiple rules have the exact same thing, that's how you do it. You just write the first one, comma, H2, or like the second one, whatever you've got, and then you write the rule. And that'll just save you a little bit of time. Rather than writing H1 color maroon and then down below H2 color maroon, you can just use a comma. Anyway, that's not the main topic. We're looking at what internal CSS is, and that's when you put CSS in style tags in the head of the website. External CSS is saved in a separate file. It's saved externally, it's saved somewhere else. And the way you link to it is this link here. I don't think you'd ever be expected to remember this off by heart, but that's why I'm putting it here, just so you can copy and paste it in your coursework if you want. The link is always going to be the same, and I would always call the external file style.css. I think REPL actually by default calls it style.css, so you won't have to worry about the names here. All you've got to know is that this links to your file, and it's called a style sheet. Now, and it means that we no longer have to put the CSS in the page. You can put it to another page. Now, why would you want to do that? Well, there's a few reasons. First one is a unified look. Now, we've only been doing one or two web pages, but you've got to think, right? A site like BBC News, it has the same style across the whole website. It doesn't matter what article you click on, it's got the same red banner or whatever, and that is because at the start of every web page, at the start of every article, there is a link to the BBC style sheet, and it's got a bunch of rules that tells it to be color red or background color red or whatever. So it gives you a unified look. So if you use an external style sheet, you can add all your rules into one and you can just keep making web pages and they'll all look similar. This will obviously save you time, because if you want all your pages to look like each other, you don't have to write the rules out, you can just link it to that and it's taken care of. So if you said in one page make all paragraphs blue, and then you make a new page and you just make another paragraph, as long as they're linked by a style sheet, everything will be blue, or all the paragraphs will be blue. It also saves space. Now, not by space, I mean like physical space. I mean, I suppose it'll save a little bit of data, but a little bit of storage space, but you don't have to write all of this anymore. You can just write a single line. Now, this will probably make more sense of an example. So here is an external CSS example. This is the exact same rules as you can see as the previous one, except look how much less text there is. We've just got the title in the head and then you have the link, whereas before you had the title, then the style tags, then all of this bits here, which we don't need anymore. Well, that's going to be somewhere else. It is important to know a very common mistake is people still add the style tags and then they surround the link with a style tag. If you're using external CSS, don't do that. That'll just, because those style tags say we are writing in CSS, and it will make your link not work. But this is us looking at this file, the index.html, but let's look at the style sheet. What does it look like? It looks it's the exact same language. Again, no need for style tags here. Very common mistake is people put style tags at the top and bottom. The fact that you say .css is telling it this is a CSS document. The language is just naturally CSS. So you just start writing your rules there, and as long as you link it like this, any page linked like that will gain these rules. So here's another page. Different dog, different information about the dog, but what we can do is, because it links to it, and notice it looks very similar, the page, but because it links to the same style sheet, it has the same rules, and that is why both have tan backgrounds, both have maroon H1s and H2s and so on. And that just shows, again, that's just that direct comparison. So here's what all the files look like on REPL. This is the main page called index. There's no way to rename that. Annoyingly, REPL just makes the first page have to be called index, but whatever, that's index. I've added a link to go view the dog here, so if you clicked on that link, it would bring you here, and then you would see it's exactly the same. It just makes a web page. External CSS just makes a web page look unified. Now that's not to say internal CSS is bad. It's got its advantages. If you just want to add something quickly, maybe you want to add a rule to just this page but not that page, then you could add internal CSS. You can even mix and match them, so you could have like general rules across the two pages, but maybe you might want to have just a little bit extra here. You might want to make this blue for some reason, and that would overwrite it. So let's look at the tasks, and we're going to go over the first task. So this is on the National 4-5 computing team. If you scroll down to week 5, and it's called 7.1 External CSS. Now what you'll see is it's the same dogs, but we're going to make them look slightly different, like, well, the page looks slightly different. And let's run it and see what it looks like to begin with. So all the HTML has been done for us. We'll click on Goldie the dog, and we can click back. Like, they're both linked together, right? So this first lesson is just purely about external CSS. So if we look at, well, here's the images of what they've got to look like. We've got this awful green scheme. I apologize. I just wanted to make, I just felt like every color scheme so far has been kind of neutral. So I wanted to do something a bit different, but I know it is horrendous, but yeah. So here's the style sheet. This won't be here normally. I've just started it off for you, just so you don't get confused. You don't have to write style tags or anything. You'll notice it lets you minimize it if you want, just so you're aware, in case you do have a mistake. Now, if we look at the task, so this is the task. It's in something called Markdown language. Now that's something I've written. You don't need to know that. Again, to look at the actual task and to get it up here, just click on Preview, and then there's our task. You might want to change view, so I'm going to do that. It's a bit difficult with all the windows. So let's go stacked view. Okay, that's a little bit easier, right? And I want to click on the style. So in the index.html page, copy the following code in between the head tags, although they're not linked up yet. So just copy this. Like, you don't need to remember this off by heart. You just need to know what to copy. So if you go to index.html and you see right under title, there's a little space. Just put that there, right? So that links it to the style sheet. Now do the exact same for goldie.html. So click here, go there. Now they're both linked. Nothing will happen yet because there's no rules, but if we go to, let's look at the task again. Why did it disappear? Yeah. In style.css, write the style rules for both web pages using the notes below. The body should be a forest. It should have a forest green background and a Garamond font. So background color, I've already written that bit. Just right. Can't spell. Forest green. and then we go font family. Remember, if you forget the rules, it's all in the PowerPoint as well, just look back at that. There's only 5 you need to remember. Garamond, and then we'll have a look, we'll run it. There you go, it started to work already. It's made the background that really awful green colour. But let's make it more awful and more green. So click back onto Markdown here. H1, the heading should be line colour with a font size of 50. This text should also be centre aligned. So you write, to make a new rule, you just take a new line, make sure you're not in the brackets here. Also make sure, very common mistake, if this is not closed, right, that's going to give you huge problems. It's actually not even going to see H1 because body never got finished. So make sure you close it off before you start a new one. This is just green because it's not used yet. Right, so what are we doing? It should be a line colour. So colour, remember American spelling, line not line, and font size of 50 point. Okay, this text should also be center aligned. Is that even right? That's not right. God, I'm forgetting myself. So, text align, yeah. What did I write? Font align. What am I talking about? Sorry. I'm very tired when recording this. Text align. Is that just because I can't spell align? I think it is. Yeah. Okay, we got there in the end. Right, so text align, that'll make it go to the center of the screen, the top heading. So if we run that now, let's open it large so we can see if it's worked properly. There you go. It's went huge, and then it's turned that into a disgusting line font. And then the rest of it, well, I'm not going to go over the rest of it because I think you should get the idea by now. But H2 is, the colour of H2 should be line, so also usually go H2, go colour, line, and then paragraph, go to paragraph, medium spring green, until your images look like that. And then there's a few other tasks. So the other tasks, after you finish that, this one, where are we? Right, so you need to make, if we look at the task here, you need to first join the pages up together, and other than that, it's more or less the same. Yeah. There is one bit A here that might throw you off. The A tag is the hyperlink. So when you write ahref, you'll notice that it's always small and blue. If you, I don't mean it'll always be blue, but if you change A, that will let you change the font of that. It will let you change the size and so on. Other than that, you're just making your website look like this. This one looks a little bit nicer, at least. After that, this is bringing up what we looked at last week with classes and IDs. So I think the pages are already linked together in this one. Yeah, the pages are already linked together, but you need to add an ID here. So that's the hashtag ID. So you would write hashtag top or whatever, and then these, you could call it, the classes are dots, you'd write .info, and then you would do div class equals info, and then it gives you these rules. But that's all discussed, it's all talked about in the document as well, kind of step by step. And the last one is, it's only one page, the last one. There's a little bit of a revision, so you need to make it so that, oh wait, that's the wrong one. You need to make it so that it's got these lists. If you can't remember how to do that, look back at week 2, or lesson 2, sorry. And then we've also got audio as well. That is lesson 3 or 4, I can't remember. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's that one there, and that'll tell you how to do it, and that'll link up the audio that's there, and then you're still using the style sheet as well. All that goes in the HTML, but then you use the style sheet to style what it looks like, because right now all it looks like is a bunch of text. It doesn't even have images or anything, so that's just a bit of revision on all the Nat4 stuff as well. Right, hopefully this video was useful to you. Thanks for watching. Bye.